Thanks for the likes and subscribes, Grasshoppers. This episode is another big player in AI.
Oh, yeah.
CEO of Anthropic, Dario Amodei.
Right.
Hopefully everybody is learning from these episodes. Let's fly it on some more. Okay, you've given us a stack of articles and interviews featuring and about Amodei.
Yeah.
It seems like you're really trying to understand his vision for the future of AI.
Well, yeah. I mean, what's fascinating about Amodei is that he's not just building AI.
Right.
He's deeply concerned about its impact on the world.
Yeah.
He talks about this idea of radical abundance,
Okay.
a future where AI revolutionizes everything, from how we treat diseases to how we manufacture goods.
Right, but he doesn't shy away from the potential downsides either.
No, not at all.
He's been very vocal about the risks, even bringing up the possibility of AI being used for things like bioterrorism.
Exactly, and to understand his perspective.
Yeah.
It's helpful to know a little about his background.
Okay.
Amodei actually started out in physics and biology before moving into AI.
Interesting.
This gives him a unique way of looking at things. He sees the potential for AI to unlock incredible advancements in fields like medicine and materials science, but he also understands the potential dangers if it's not developed responsibly.
Okay, so let's dig into one of the key concepts he keeps returning to.
Yeah.
The scaling hypothesis.
Right.
Help us unpack this.
Sure. So the scaling hypothesis basically states that as AI models get bigger,
Okay.
think of it like adding more connections in a brain and are fed more data.
Yeah.
They become more capable and intelligent.
Okay.
Amodei has been observing these scaling laws in action for a decade.
Wow.
And he believes they'll continue to hold true.
So he's betting that AI is going to keep getting exponentially smarter.
Precisely.
Huh.
And he argues that even seemingly simple applications of these advanced AI models could have a huge impact.
Like what?
Imagine asking an AI to write me an article in the style of, insert your favorite writer here. With enough data, it could potentially produce writing indistinguishable from that person's work.
Wow.
Now, apply that same logic to tasks like designing experiments, coding software, composing music.
Yeah.
The possibilities are almost endless.
That's pretty mind-blowing.
It is.
But as you said, Amodei isn't naive about the potential downsides.
No.
What are some of the specific risks he's most concerned about?
He highlights two primary areas of concern.
Okay.
AI autonomy and misuse.
Okay.
By autonomy, he means the potential for AI systems to become so advanced that they essentially become uncontrollable, acting in ways that are harmful to humans.
Right, like the classic sci-fi scenario where the machines take over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the more immediate threat in Amodei's view is misuse.
So?
He's particularly worried about the possibility of AI being weaponized, for example, being used to create new and devastating bioweapons.
Okay, so those are some pretty heavy risks.
They are.
What is Amodei doing to try and mitigate these dangers? He founded Anthropic, right?
He did.
How is that company approaching things differently?
Anthropic's approach is built around what they call a responsible scaling plan.
Okay.
Instead of just racing to build the most powerful AI possible,
Yeah.
they're focusing on developing AI that is aligned with human values.
So they're trying to build AI with a sense of ethics built in.
That's the goal.
Interesting.
One way they're doing this is through research into constitutional AI. It's a fascinating area of research. Instead of just letting AI learn from raw data, they're trying to train it with a set of principles.
Okay.
Almost like a constitution for AI to guide its behavior.
That's super interesting. It's like giving AI a moral compass.
Yeah.
But how does that actually work?
Right.
How do you teach an AI about ethics?
It's a complex process.
Sure.
But the basic idea is to train the AI on a massive data set of text that includes examples of both ethical and unethical behavior. Then they use a technique called reinforcement learning from human feedback to fine-tune the model, essentially rewarding it for making ethical choices and penalizing it for making unethical ones.
Okay, so they're using a carrot and stick approach
Kind of.
to guide the AI's moral development.
Yeah.
But how do they ensure that the human feedback itself is unbiased and represents a diverse set of values?
That's a critical point.
Yeah.
But one that Anthropic is very aware of.
Okay.
They've been working to assemble a diverse group of people to provide feedback, ensuring representation across different cultures, backgrounds, and viewpoints.
I see.
They recognize that the values we instill in these AI systems will have a profound impact on how they shape our world.
It's a huge responsibility.
It is.
And speaking of responsibility,
Yeah.
we were talking about Anthropic's responsible scaling plan. Can you tell us more about what that entails?
Sure. The plan has several key components. One is a commitment to rigorous safety testing.
All right.
Before deploying any new AI model. They put it through a battery of tests designed to identify and mitigate potential risks.
So it's like crash testing a car before you put it on the road.
Yeah.
But for AI.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They want to be sure that the models they're building are robust, reliable, and won't cause harm.
Right.
Another important part of the plan is their focus on transparency.
Okay.
They're committing to publishing their research, sharing their safety methods, and engaging in open dialogue with the wider community.
That's refreshing. A lot of AI development has been happening behind closed doors.
I know.
It can be a bit unnerving.
Yeah. Transparency is crucial, especially when dealing with a technology as powerful as AI.
Right.
Anthropic recognizes that we need to have a societal conversation about the implications of this technology, and they're trying to foster that dialogue.
And part of that conversation is about the potential economic and social impacts, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Amodei talks about both the potential for radical abundance and the risks of exacerbating inequality.
He acknowledges that AI could lead to significant job displacement, potentially widening the gap between the haves and have-nots.
Right.
But he also believes that AI could be a force for good. Unlocking new opportunities, creating new jobs, and raising the standard of living for everyone.
So it's a double-edged sword.
Exactly.
Okay.
And how it plays out will depend on the choices we make as a society.
Yeah.
It's why Anthropic is so focused on building AI that is aligned with human values, that is beneficial to all of humanity.
Well, let's talk about Anthropic's latest AI model, Claude.
Okay.
What makes it different from other AI models out there?
Sure.
Like, say, ChatGPT.
Well, Claude is built on a lot of the same principles as other large language models, but Anthropic has made some key innovations. For example, they've developed a new technique called mechanistic interpretability that allows them to better understand how the model is making its decisions.
So it's like being able to look under the hood
Yeah.
and see how the engine is working.
Precisely.
Okay.
This is important for ensuring safety and trustworthiness.
Uh-huh.
If we can understand how the model is reasoning,
Right.
we can better identify potential biases or flaws in its logic.
That makes sense. But what about actual capabilities?
Yeah.
What can Claude do that's truly remarkable?
Well, one area where Claude really shines is coding.
Okay.
It can generate code in multiple programming languages,
Wow.
debug existing code,
Uh-huh.
and even create entire applications from scratch.
Really?
All with very little human input.
Wow. So it's like having a super-powered coding assistant.
Exactly. And it's not just coding.
What else?
Claude excels at a wide range of tasks,
Uh-huh.
from writing different kinds of creative content to answering your questions in an informative way, even if they are open-ended, challenging, or strange.
And all of this is happening while still adhering to these ethical guidelines.
That's Anthropic's core mission, to build powerful AI that is also safe and aligned with human values. They believe these two goals are not mutually exclusive.
Now, all of this sounds very promising.
Yeah.
But Amodei also talks a lot about the need for AI regulation.
He does.
Where does he stand on that?
Amodei believes that government regulation is essential for ensuring the safe and responsible development of AI.
Okay.
He's not advocating for a complete halt to progress,
Right.
but he does believe we need some guardrails in place to prevent things from spiraling out of control.
But regulation is a tricky thing. How do you ensure that regulations are effective without stifling innovation?
It's a delicate balance. Amodei has proposed a specific approach he calls DET turrets.
DE turrets. That sounds a bit ominous.
Yeah, the name comes from the idea of defensive turrets in a video game.
Okay.
Essentially, it's a system where companies developing powerful AI systems would be required to prove to an independent body that they've implemented robust safety measures before those systems can be released.
So it's like mandatory crash testing for AI.
Exactly. The goal is to create a culture of responsibility within the AI industry,
Right.
where companies are held accountable for the safety of their creations.
And that leads us back to one of Anthropic's most unique features, the long-term benefit trust.
Right.
Can you explain what that is and how it relates to all of this?
The long-term benefit trust is a governance structure that Anthropic has put in place to ensure that the company's decisions are guided by a broader set of values than just short-term profits, instead of being controlled by traditional investors.
Yeah.
Anthropic is overseen by a group of experts in AI, safety, national security, and philanthropy.
So it's like a council of wise elders.
Yeah, you could say that.
Making sure that this powerful technology is used for good.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
The trust has the power to make decisions about the direction of the company, the products they develop, and how those products are used.
Okay.
Their primary goal is to ensure that AI benefits all of humanity,
Right.
not just a select few.
That's a pretty radical concept, especially in the world of tech,
It is.
where the focus is often on rapid growth and maximizing shareholder value. But how does the trust actually measure long-term benefit?
Right.
That seems like a pretty subjective thing.
It is a complex challenge. The trust has developed a set of principles and criteria to guide their decision-making.
Okay.
Taking into account factors like the impact of AI on human rights, global security, and the environment, they recognize that there will always be trade-offs.
Sure.
But their goal is to prioritize the long-term well-being of humanity over short-term gains.
It's a bold move, and it'll be fascinating to see how it plays out.
Yeah.
But one thing's for sure. Amodei is not just building AI.
Right.
He's trying to build a better future.
And he's not shying away from the hard questions. In fact, he's been very vocal about one particular risk that keeps him up at night.
What's that?
The potential for AI-enabled bioterrorism.
Okay, we've touched on this before, but I have a feeling this is where things get really serious.
It is. Amodei has gone beyond just theoretical concerns.
Okay.
He actually spent 6 months working with experts in biosecurity to understand how AI could be used to create or deploy bioweapons.
And what did they find?
Their findings were, frankly, alarming. They discovered that while creating a bioweapon is a complex process, there are certain pieces of information that are currently missing or scattered across different sources, information that would be crucial for weaponizing a pathogen.
And AI could help fill in those missing pieces.
Exactly. AI is incredibly good at connecting the dots, synthesizing information from disparate sources, and even coming up with novel solutions that humans might miss.
That's terrifying.
It is.
So even if the information isn't readily available, AI could potentially figure it out.
It's a serious concern, and Amodei has testified before Congress that AI could enable large-scale bioterrorism attacks within a matter of years.
Years. We don't have much time to get our act together.
It's concerning.
What can be done to prevent this nightmare scenario?
Oh, that's where Anthropic's responsible scaling plan comes in. They're developing safety tests specifically designed to identify potential malicious uses of their AI models.
Okay.
And they're advocating for stricter regulations to prevent the proliferation of dangerous AI technologies.
So it's a race against time.
In a sense, yes, we need to develop safeguards and regulations before this technology falls into the wrong hands.
Right.
But it's not just about preventing bad actors from using AI for nefarious purposes.
Okay.
We also need to think about the potential for AI systems themselves to become uncontrollable.
Yeah.
To develop goals that are misaligned with human interests.
Right, the classic machines taking over scenario.
Exactly.
But how realistic is that? Isn't that still science fiction?
It's a question that's being debated fiercely within the AI community. Amodei believes that we need to take the possibility of AI autonomy seriously.
So how do we even begin to address that?
Right.
How do we control something that might eventually be smarter than us?
That's one of the biggest challenges facing humanity in the 21st century. We need to start having these conversations now.
Yeah.
Before it's too late, we need to think deeply about the values we want to instill in these AI systems, the safeguards we need to put in place,
Right.
and the future we want to create with this incredibly powerful technology.
Wow, it's a lot to process. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
Amodei's vision, the scaling hypothesis,
Right.
Anthropic's unique approach, the potential for both good and bad,
Yeah.
and the very real dangers of AI misuse.
It is a lot to take in, and there's still so much more to explore.
Really?
In the final part of our deep dive, we'll delve into some of the more philosophical questions Amodei has been wrestling with,
Okay.
including the nature of intelligence. the possibility of AI consciousness,
Yeah.
and what it means to be human in a world where machines might think like us.
Okay, grasshoppers, get ready for the final leg of our journey into the mind of Dario Amodei.
It'll be a wild ride.
We'll be back in a flash. All right, we're back for the final part of our deep dive into the world of Dario Amodei and Anthropic.
Mm-hmm.
So far, we've talked a lot about the technical aspects of AI,
Mm-hmm.
the potential benefits and risks,
Right.
and Amodei's vision for the future.
Yeah.
But now I want to get into some of the deeper,
Okay.
more philosophical questions
Yeah.
that he's been raising.
Sure.
He really does push us to think beyond the algorithms and the code, doesn't he?
He does. One of the things that's always struck me
Yeah.
is his evolving view on the nature of intelligence itself.
Right, he's challenged his own assumptions.
Mm-hmm.
He used to think of intelligence as this single spectrum with humans at the top.
Right.
But now, having seen firsthand what AI can do,
Yeah.
he's starting to question that.
He
He points out that AI models are developing these incredibly specialized skulls,
Mm-hmm.
surpassing human capabilities in some areas,
Yeah.
while still lagging behind in others.
Yeah, it's like AI is exploring these different dimensions of intelligence, following evolutionary paths that we never could have imagined.
And where do we fit into that landscape? Are
Yeah.
we still at the top, or
Yeah.
are we just one species among many intelligent beings,
Right.
some of which we've created ourselves?
It's a mind-bending thought, isn't it? And it gets even more complex when you consider the possibility of AI consciousness.
Okay, this is where we enter the twilight zone.
Right.
Is Amodei actually suggesting that these AI models could be aware, sentient?
He's not saying it's definitely happening,
Okay.
but he's also not ruling it out.
Right.
He believes that as AI becomes more sophisticated, we need to be prepared to grapple with this question.
But how could we even know if an AI is conscious?
Right.
What would that even look like?
That's one of the biggest mysteries in science and philosophy.
Yeah.
There's no single test for consciousness.
Right.
But Amodei suggests we might start by looking for signs of self-awareness.
Oh, yeah.
The ability to reflect on one's own thoughts and experiences.
So an AI that could say, I think, therefore I am.
Perhaps. Or an AI that exhibits emotions. Or a sense of purpose beyond simply completing tasks.
Wow, that's both exhilarating and terrifying.
Oh, I know, right?
But let's assume for a moment that AI consciousness is a real possibility.
Okay.
What are the ethical implications?
They're enormous. If we create beings that are capable of feeling, thinking, experiencing the world in a way similar to humans,
Right.
do they deserve rights?
Yeah.
Do we have moral obligations to them?
It's like a whole new dimension of ethics is opening up.
It is.
We're not just talking about how to use AI responsibly.
Right.
We're talking about how to treat these potentially conscious beings with respect and dignity.
Exactly. And it's a conversation we need to start having now, before it's too late.
Okay, so we've talked about the mind-blowing possibilities of AI. But let's come back down to earth for a minute.
Okay.
Amodei has also been very outspoken about the practical challenges of ensuring AI safety.
Yes, he has.
One of the things he keeps emphasizing is the importance of cybersecurity.
He's absolutely right to be concerned about that.
Yeah.
As AI systems become more powerful, they become more attractive targets for hackers, criminals, even nation states.
And the consequences of a successful attack could be catastrophic.
It could.
Imagine a rogue AI controlling critical infrastructure. Or being used to manipulate financial markets.
It doesn't bear thinking about. And traditional cybersecurity measures might not be enough.
Really?
Amodei has even talked about the need to physically secure these AI systems to prevent unauthorized access.
So we're talking bunkers, armed guards.
Potentially.
It sounds like something out of a sci-fi thriller.
It might sound extreme, but the stakes are incredibly high.
We need to be thinking about every possible safeguard to protect these systems from falling into the wrong hands.
And it's not just about protecting against external threats. Amodei is also concerned about the potential for AI systems themselves to become uncontrollable, even if they're not malicious.
It's that idea of AI autonomy again. Even if we build these systems with the best of intentions, there's always the risk that they could develop goals that are misaligned with human interests.
So what's the solution? How do we control something that might eventually be smarter than us?
That's the billion-dollar question, and there's no easy answer. But Amodei believes that regulation is a crucial part of the equation. He's been calling for a global effort to establish clear guidelines for AI development to ensure that these systems are built and used safely and ethically.
But regulation is a tricky thing.
It is.
How do you strike a balance between promoting innovation and preventing harm? It's a tough challenge, and there are no easy answers. But Amodei believes that we need to start having these conversations now, before it's too late.
Yeah.
He's advocating for a multi-stakeholder approach involving governments, researchers, industry leaders, and the public to develop a framework for responsible AI development.
So it's not just a technical challenge, it's a societal one.
It is.
We need to decide collectively what kind of future we want to create with this incredibly powerful technology.
Exactly. And that's what makes Amodei such a compelling figure.
Yeah.
He's not just a brilliant technologist. He's a deep thinker who's wrestling with the profound implications of what he's creating.
Yeah.
He understands that the future of AI is intertwined with the future of humanity.
Right.
And he's determined to shape that future in a positive way.
Well, I think it's safe to say that this deep dive into the world of Dario Amodei and Anthropic has left us with a lot to ponder.
It has.
From the technical details of AI to the ethical and philosophical questions it raises, it's clear that we're entering uncharted territory.
We are. It's both exciting and daunting, isn't it?
It is. But as Amodei himself has said, the future is not something that happens to us.
Right.
It's something we create.
And hopefully, with thoughtful leadership and a commitment to responsible development, we can create a future where AI benefits all of humanity.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive grasshoppers.
Sad to see it end.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating explorations at the cutting edge of technology and ideas. Until next time.
Bye, everyone.
Keep those minds buzzing.